How does stress hijack your brain? Today we're going to be talking about how the stress affects your brain. And for that, we're just going to use a simple model, your hand. And you can do this by tucking your thumb, which is your primitive brain. And then you got your upper fingers, which are your prefrontal cortex, or the higher brain, the upstairs brain. And we want to live out of the upstairs brain. That's what makes us human. This little thing, the limbic system, the downstairs brain, that's a reactive survival brain that gets triggered when we live out of stress. So the prefrontal cortex protects that, so we live out of this. The issue is when we deal with stress, whether it be chronic everyday stress or a traumatic event in your life, it's going to pop this. So for instance, baby has a traumatic birth. There we go. That undoes this stress. Child gets bullied at school. There we go. Teen. Lose a job or a really toxic work environment. There we go. We can't do that. Maybe that's two. And now we start to live out of this part of the brain and we become reactive. And we're not designed to live out of this part of the brain all the time. It takes a lot of energy. So what are we going to do to take care of this? Well, obviously we can get away from the stress. Bingo. But what we also want to do is sometimes we just can't give up our jobs, or sometimes things happen to us we have no explanation, we can't control, like a car accident or loss of a loved one. We just can't control those types of things in our life. Let's face it, if you're going to live, stress is going to happen to you, whether you like it or not. Well, first of all, let's create a great story around it, how we can learn and process it. It's important to talk to people about it. But there's sometimes it just gets really hardwired into the brain. And so what we want to do is we want to start living out of this part of the brain. And we'll find that stress actually scrambles the brain. And there's triggers. So, if we have an issue with bullying, and then sometimes another issue is, hey, a kid looks at you the wrong way. Well, that's a trigger that will expose the downstairs part of the brain. And you have no understanding why. But research shows this, that chiropractic care specifically focused on this upper neck is going to help reprocess that prefrontal cortex. So you get an adjustment, another adjustment, series of adjustments. It starts to help you lock in that prefrontal cortex. So you're living out of this prefrontal cortex again, rather than you're starting to live out of this area as well. Hey, if you like the research, I'd be happy to send it to you. It's by Dr. Hijacks out of New Zealand. Very cool research that I start to see. Another book I recommend, Whole Brain Child, fascinating book that I'm rereading. Study that as well. It'll help you understand you and your kid much better. But until then, if you do have any questions, let me be that resource. And if you're thinking about chiropractic care, by all means, let's have a chat. I can personally talk to you. Just give us a call and just say, I'd like to talk to Dr. Randy. Let's have a chat to see whether chiropractic would be the right fit for you and answer any questions that you may have. Until then, God bless. Create a great day.